Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be another movie review for you guys, and this movie I'm going to be reviewing, you guys may be wondering how I saw this movie. Well, I saw this movie, it got leaked onto Solar Movie because it got released in, I believe, the UK in December, so it's been here since January. So I've been able to watch this movie since January, and I was avoiding this movie. This is going to be my review for Seventh Son. Now, this movie was a movie that I thought was going to be terrible. First of all, this movie was supposed to come out in February of 2013. It then got pushed back to October of 2013. Then it got pushed back to January of 2014. And then finally, it got a release date, and it's coming out in February. And while I had a little bit of hope for this movie is not good. Like, at all. And honestly, guys, this is an epic rant. It is. If you guys knew that from the title, it's going to be a full-on rant. I hated this movie. This movie is absolutely horrible. And I'm going to talk about why this movie is horrible. And I hate that these movies are existing because there are reasons why this movie exists. But first of all, let's get to the plot of this movie, which doesn't even make any sense. Basically, we follow this man, played by Jeff Bridges, John Gregory, aka the Spook. He is this seventh son of the seventh son, who here's his character. He is getting old, and he can't really, he can see ghosts, and the only last hope, because, they don't explain why it's his last hope. He just says that my only last hope is to find this man, Tom Ward, who has to become the seventh son and has to deal with training and things like that, and this movie fucking sucks. It's that simple. This movie sucks, and I'm going to talk about why this movie sucks so much. First of all, there's nothing redeemable about this movie. When this movie was starting, I'm like, okay, maybe this won't be terrible. I was originally going to give this movie 2 out of 5, but no, this movie, I fucking hate this thing. This is the second worst movie of the year because I don't count Medea's Tough Love. I don't count that as a regular movie. And I'm going to talk about why this movie is so terrible. First of all, the plot is so boring to this movie. The plot is so boring. Let's get to the acting in this movie, which, oh my god, the acting. Oh my god. This movie could have been much better if it had a good cast. Ben Barnes as Tom Ward. He's not even trying! He's not even trying to give a good performance. Seriously. This movie takes place in England, and he has a fucking American accent. And I say an American accent because Ben Barnes is British. He's British, and you give him an American accent. That doesn't work. They don't explain why he has an American accent, and I'm sick and tired of these movies doing this. I'm sick and tired of these movies giving the protagonist an American accent, making everyone else British. It does not work when you do it, and Ben Barnes is not even trying in this movie. He is the most wooden thing ever. At no point did I care about anything about his character. His character was so boring to me. His character I didn't care anything about his character. I didn't want his character to succeed. I didn't care what happened to his character. He was so terrible in this movie. He couldn't even carry this movie, and he was just, oh my god, so bad. Seriously, so bad, and, but nothing can compare to the horribleness of Jeff Bridges as John Gregory. Oh my god, Jeff Bridges. I'm gonna say this right now. If you put Jeff Bridges in a movie, it's gonna be terrible, because Jeff Bridges, his career's over. This is literally him in the movie. Like, I could not understand a damn word he was saying. He has this thick beard that's covering him, and he is basically this character that, is there to mentor Tom, and his character is so fucking boring. This is how his character talks. You are the seventh son of the seventh son, and I talk like this throughout the whole movie, and I'm not even gonna try because this movie is terrible, and I'm Jeff Bridges, and I just don't try in movies anymore, and I talk like this, and I don't put any emotion into anything. And that's literally his character throughout the entire movie. He wears this dark hooded mask over his head, and he's so boring that you don't feel anything for his character, you don't care about his character. The problem with Jeff Bridges is simply that he's not a good actor anymore. anymore. Not only is the character aging in the movie, Jeff Bridges is aging. He's not a good actor anymore. There's certain actors when they get older, they're not good actors anymore. Jeff Bridges happens to be one of those actors. He's not a good actor anymore. Stop putting him in movies. I'm sick of seeing him in movies. He's absolutely horrible. And literally, he was terrible in this movie. Absolutely horrible, and just everything about him. They're trying to make him like the new Gandalf. Like, seriously, there's so many parallels to The Lord of the Rings with this movie. It pisses me off how many parallels they are with it. And they're trying to make him like a Gandalf sort of character, or like an Obi-Wan, and it's not working. Just because you talk in a calming voice does not mean that you are the next Gandalf or the next Obi-Wan, because the thing that that Ian McShane and Ian McGregor had, and also the guy, the things that those characters had were charisma. You don't have any charisma. You don't have any emotion. He has no emotion in anything he is saying. No emotion whatsoever, and he just talks like this throughout the whole movie. Honestly, he just talks like he's on, he sounds like he's on, like, what's that? What's that radio station? I can't think of it now. What's that radio station? NPR. He sounds like he's on an NPR radio station. Hello, I am Jeff Bridges. I'm on NPR, and I talk like this throughout the whole movie. That's literally his character throughout the whole movie. You don't care about his character, and he's just so fucking annoying. Julianne Moore in this movie. Going into this movie, people said that Julianne Moore was the best thing about this movie. And I'm going to tell you why. She's the only person that's trying in this movie. However, that does not mean that she's good, because honestly, Julianne Moore is horrible in this movie. But she's literally the only person trying. She plays the villain, Mother Malkin, and she is not good in this movie at all. This is by far Julianne Moore's worst performance. I felt so bad for her in this movie. And the thing, I understand why Julianne Moore is trying to do movies like this. She's trying to be a more diverse actress, and I've said nothing but positive things about Julianne Moore. And now I feel so bad because this is the movie that, people are going to see this movie because Julianne Moore's nominated for an Oscar right now. They're going to see this movie. They want to see Julianne Moore's talents. I'm assuming they're going to do this because, people will probably do this. And they're going to see in this movie, and she's awful. She is not menacing. She's not convincing as a villain. And while she's trying, she doesn't succeed. But the reason she's the best part of the movie is because she's the only person trying. Everybody else is terrible in the movie. While she does have expression and emotion, she doesn't work as a villain. She works the type of villain that she was in More Maisie Knew, or the kind of character she was in Maps to the Stars. Those characters, and Maps to the Stars was so much more entertaining than this. I thought Maps to the Stars was boring. This is boring. This movie is literally boring, and while her character is trying, it does not work at all. And the last person I'm going to talk about is Alicia Vikander as this girl Alice, who randomly shows up to be Tom's love interest, and they have some sort of love story throughout the movie. You feel nothing because she randomly shows up in the beginning she randomly shows up, these two randomly start some sort of like love story, and you don't care about their relationship. You see nothing between them. You don't understand why it's even in here, because it doesn't even go with the rest of the movie. It has nothing to do with the plot or anything. Literally, the only reason she's there is because they wanted a love interest for him, so, they could get more people to see the movie, and she's terrible. I'm sorry, but those two had no chemistry whatsoever, and might just have the worst chemistry of the year, because I don't count the chemistry in The Boy Next Door, because they're not supposed to have good chemistry in that movie. But this movie, they're supposed to have very good chemistry, and I felt literally nothing. Nothing from them, and just, oh my god, they're awful. The directing by Sergei Bodrov. What were you thinking? Seriously, this movie is so boring, and it's because of the directing in this movie. I heard that he changed the entire book. The book is so much more entertaining than this. Nothing in this movie is entertaining. Literally, most of the movie is just characters having a conversation. It's not interesting. The training segments are not interesting. When Gandalf is talking to, like Frodo in Lord of the Rings. It's not interesting like that. It's just boring, and Sergei Bodrov did an awful job directing this movie. The tones are all over the place. This movie is so laughable at points. Anything, I'm going to say this right now, anything that came out of Jeff Bridges' mouth, I was cracking up hysterically. Anything that came out of his mouth, I don't care what it was, anything that he said, I was laughing hysterically at, and I shouldn't have been. But the problem is the movie is just so badly written that I couldn't do anything else but laugh at him. It's such terrible writing. Literally, there's a line where he's like, "You are the seventh son of the seventh son," and seriously, the directing in this movie is so bad, and the tones do not work. Nothing in this movie works. It's not thrilling. It's not scary. It's not dramatic. It's simply just ridiculous. The screenplay in this movie, as I said, is completely insane. The screenplay, honestly, is hard to follow. And that's one of the reasons this movie is so bad, because this movie is hard to follow, may I add. They make you think while watching this movie. They make you have to remember things while watching this movie. This movie would be so much better if it was a simple concept. It's not a simple concept. It's a very detailed, elaborate concept, and it doesn't work when it's like that. That's why The Hunger Games and Divergent work. They're simple concepts. Yes, they're political stories, but they're simple concepts. Even The Lord of the Rings are simple concepts. There's a lot going on in them, but they're very simple concepts. Seven Son is not a simple concept at all, and it's very boring, and you can't tell what's going on, and you don't care about the story either. And the reason you don't care about the story is because of the fact that you've seen this a million times. I've seen these stories a million times. I am tired of seeing some random ass guy from like a folk world, who's like in a small town, be approached by this guy to go on a quest and become a hero. I'm sick of it. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. I've seen that enough. I've seen that in better movies, and I am tired of seeing it in this movie. I'm tired of seeing replicas of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. The cinematography to this movie and the effects to this movie, while at some point they were good, nothing impressed me. Nothing in this movie was like, wow, the effects are saving this movie and they're so gorgeous to look at. No, the effects were not impressive. The effects were to the equivalent of Clash of the Titans. Yeah, that's how bad this movie is. This is the next Clash of the Titans. It really is, guys. You know how boring Clash of the Titans was? Oh, this movie is so much worse than that. Clash of the Titans was actually entertaining. This is not entertaining at all. The cinematography can't even save this movie. Nothing can save this movie. Cinematography is so boring, and there's literally a scene where like any fight scene in this movie was just so long and boring, and you guys may think that I'm gonna complain about the length, and you're saying, why are you complaining about the length, why are you complaining about it? Well, guys, it's 103 minutes long. Okay, 103 minutes long. Your movie should not be boring. Your movie should move by quickly. There's so many other movies I've seen that are so much longer than this, that are so much more interesting, and literally, this movie is 93 minutes long, and it felt like 2 hours long. This movie felt so long, and the editing was absolutely awful in this movie. There was not a single scene that I cared about. There was not a single scene that kept me invested. Not even Julianne Moore's scenes keep me invested, because as I said, she was not good in this movie. While she's trying, she's not good, because she doesn't fit in these roles. She doesn't belong in these kind of movies. Did I like her in The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1? Yeah, I liked her character because she was well fleshed out. In this movie, there's no explanation for things. They don't explain anything that happens in this movie. They don't explain why John is recruiting Tom, why he's his last hope. There's no, like, oh, I would have gotten this person. There's none of that. It's just he randomly approaches him. There's no, why is this all happening? How did this happen with John? If we would have gotten some more backstory of his character, I think it actually could have been a good movie. And it's not because of the fact that the directing's terrible. It's because the cast is wrong. Just everything about this movie is wrong. Everything about it is wrong. Everything. The twists are dumb. The ending of this movie is so cringeworthy of stupidness. And of course, in this movie, they try to open it for a sequel. They try to make it seem like this is going to be another movie, and honestly, if this movie gets a franchise, I'm going to be very pissed off, because this is a movie that does not need a sequel. They don't even open it for a sequel. However, I think this movie is going to get a sequel. Why? Because of money. Let me tell you guys how much money this movie cost to make. $82 million. This movie had a box office of $82 million, and how much did this movie even cost to make? I don't even see, it's not even telling me how much this movie cost to make. Like, seriously, that's how badly put together this movie is. It's not even telling me how much it cost to make, and that is absolutely ridiculous that it's not even telling me how much it cost to make, because it should cost money, but it's not telling me how much money it costs to make, and I don't understand why. But This movie had made $82 million when it first came out, and I really hope that nobody sees this movie, because if this movie bombs, then maybe we won't get a second one. But if this movie succeeds, which I know it's going to, do I think it's going to be Jupiter Ascending? No, I think Jupiter Ascending is going to be the movie of the week, definitely. But I think that this movie is going to do very well, and I'm scared for that, because I don't want this movie to do well. I want this movie to bomb epically. I don't want this movie to succeed. I don't want this movie to get big numbers, because this movie fucking sucks, and everything about it is a tragedy. Everything about it. It's laughable. It's stupid. The plot is dumb. The characters are dumb. The story is dumb. The cinematography is dumb. The effects are dumb. Just everything about the movie is a giant mess, and I'm not sugarcoating anything, guys. This movie gets an F. I'm sorry, it gets an F. I did not have a good time in this movie. In the scenes, everything that made me laugh with Jeff Bridges, as funny as that was, I hated it. I could not have a good time with it. It's not as bad as The Boy Next Door, thank God. It's not one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It's not, it's not to the equivalent of The Boy Next Door, but it still is a terrible, awful movie that I do not recommend you guys see. Please do not see this movie. If you know what's good for you, do not see this movie, and I really hope that nobody sees this movie. And I'm very happy because they're not showing any promotions for this movie, which I'm very happy about, because this movie is just gonna bomb. And honestly, this movie should have just been direct to DVD. It really should have. It does not deserve to go to theaters, because it really is just a giant, giant train wreck. And that's basically for my review. I mean, my epic rant. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie if you guys do see it. If you guys do see it, I feel so bad for you. Please do not see it. I really hope that you guys don't see it. There's so many other movies coming out this week. You have SpongeBob, you have Jupiter Ascending. See anything else but this, okay? I'm probably seeing Jupiter Ascending in theaters this week. I am. And that's because I refuse to support this movie. I watched this movie now because I refuse to see this in theaters. I refuse to see it. I literally told myself I am not seeing this in theaters. Thank God I didn't, because this movie sucked, and it's by far the second worst movie of the year. But that's it for my epic rant. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Arrow. So I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.